Hey guys, how you doing? It's Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report with your free NBA basketball previews and predictions today for Saturday. It is March 22nd. Hope you're having yourself a good start to your Super Saturday. As always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right-hand corner. All right, got 5 games in the NBA today, and I thought what I'll do is give you the computer forecast, and then I'll give you my 2 free picks at the end of this. But I wanted to give you guys a little bit of information on every game. So this way, with only 5 games, you got March Madness going. Maybe we can find the needle in the haystack here today. All right, we got the Pacers taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Now, the Pacers are going to be a 9-point favorite. 220 is your total. And we got the Pacers winning 118-108. The over-under, 226.82. Indiana coming off a 105-99 victory over Brooklyn. So a back-to-back game situation off 1 day's rest. 40-29 on the season, while Brooklyn 23-47, 2-8 last 10. However, 6-4 against the number, and they'll be playing against Indiana again at the Gamebridge Fieldhouse. All right, the Golden State Warriors, bad news. Steph Curry going to be out, and further evaluation on Monday. -2.5 is the line here on the road against the Atlanta Hawks. And the Hawks' last game was a victory over the Hornets, 134-102, while Golden State beat the Raptors by 3, 117-114. Today, I got the Warriors winning by 115-114, the over-under, 230.57. Golden State coming in on a, let me see here, a 2-game win streak straight up and ATS, 3-7 to the under in the last 10 games, while the Atlanta Hawks, they are on 3 days rest, and they're coming off that big win over Charlotte, and they are 6-4 last 10. Washington Wizards, a 15-point home road underdog at Madison Square Garden today against the New York Knicks. I got 122-104 as the final. Knicks a 15-point favorite. 226.6 is my total. The bookmakers have 223. So according to our computer forecast, we do like this game to go over the total. Watch out for the Wizards. They're on a 3 ATS losing streak. Their last 2 games have gone over, while the New York Knicks only 4-6 last 10. They are A neutral against C bearish type team in the Wizards. And the New York Knicks only 3-7 against point spread in their last 10 contests. All right, Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Sacramento Kings. Kings off a loss to the Bulls last game, 128-116, taking on the Bucks, who beat the Lakers, and that was 2 nights ago, 118-89, kept them in double digits. And today I got the Kings winning, but getting hooked by the Bucks, 115-113. So I got Sacramento winning by a bucket. I got the total landing on 228.6. So we do like this game to fly over the total. And the last 3 games for the Milwaukee Bucks have gone under the total. And your final game of the evening, you got the Lakers taking on the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls a 9.5-point favorite. 234 is your total. And I do have the Lakers winning on the computer pick. 122-111 the over-under. 233.96. And looking at the Chicago Bulls, they're off 2 overs in the last 2 games. 7-3, however, on the point spread. And for the Lakers, they're off a loss last game to the Bucks. Only scored 89 points in that game. In the value index, I did have him listed at -8.83. All right, let's get the pick number 1, and we're going to go right back to this Chicago Bulls game. I'm going to take the Bulls plus the points here. I got 9.5 as a line. And looking at the Bulls, they're 7-3 last 10 against, in the last 10 games, while the LA Lakers are 5-5, 6-4 ATS. And looking at some of the numbers, a lot of the numbers, the analytics are going to point towards the Lakers here. But you look at the Chicago Bulls, they're 6-3-1 against the Lakers in LA. Last 10, 5-5 ATS. So pick number 1, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls. I do have some edges here favoring the Chicago Bulls. In fact, anytime you got a road team that's facing an opponent with a 60 to 70 point win percentage, 14-5-1 for the road team. So yeah, I do like the Chicago Bulls in this spot against the LA Lakers. So pick number 1, give me the Bulls plus 9.5. Pick number 2, we're going to go to Milwaukee. We're going to take the Milwaukee Bucks over the Sacramento Kings. I know Giannis is a game-time decision here, and looks like Lillard's out. But that's okay. Sabonis is out for Sacramento. And I'm going to go with the Bucks plus 2.5. They're 5-4-1 ATS last 10, and they're off a big win over the Lakers. And you can see that Sacramento only 1-8 straight up and against the number against those teams with a 50 to 59.9 win percentage. They got a big look ahead on deck here against the Boston Celtics, while Milwaukee will be in the desert against Phoenix. And for some reason, Milwaukee plays very well in Sacramento. They're 8-2 straight up, 6-4 ATS. And I'm going to take, and Sacramento, look at that, 1-9 in the last 10 overall games against Milwaukee. So either in Milwaukee or Sacramento, only 1-9 straight up. But these two teams tend to play high-scoring affairs, as 90% of the last 10 games between these two teams have gone over. Maybe the over is where you also want to cash that ticket. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to take Milwaukee plus 2.5. And as Stone Cold would say, that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. All right, so there's my picks today. Chicago Bulls plus 9.5 and Milwaukee plus 2.5. And hopefully it gets you to the winner's circle. All right, also wrote an article yesterday. It's called Chalk versus Value. Go to the website, atsstats.com. Look for Ron's system. Go to Chalk versus Value. And each and every day when you are looking at the odds, I'll give you an example. Let me go to this page right here on the front page of the NBA. So when you tune into the Raymond Report, you see the odds, right? Indiana -9. Then you got 2.5. You got 15, -15. You're not going to lay 15 points on the New York Knicks, right? -2.5, and then you got -9.5. So when I look at these numbers and against the teams they're facing, I got to say, okay, is it a chalk play? Because a lot of times when you look at the SBI, the Sports Betting Index, let's take a look at the NBA the last few weeks here. So what I do each and every morning, I go to my markets report, and I say, okay, well, how does the favorites are doing in the NBA, say last 3 days, 7 days, a month, on the year? In the last 3 days, favorites only winning 58% straight up and only covering 48.3, right? So it does favor the dogs a little bit at 51.7. But if you look at the 7-day average, 63.1, it's 4 points below the 67-day average, which is still good, right? They're winning 63% of their favorites, but only 46.9%. So when you look at analytics, you got to look at the market psychology, and because the bookmakers know this, they know that the players, they tend to take more teams with the chalk, right? The more favorites. In fact, they're even telling you who's going to win by making the favorite, right? So if they make the Lakers a 9.5 home favorite, they're telling you Lakers are going to win tonight, and they should win by 9.5. That's how I look at when the bookmakers release the line. Now you got to say to yourself, okay, now if I'm using the Raymond Report and I'm going to look at these games, like say the Lakers -9.5. Sometimes you're going to get the analytics pointing, like look at the Lakers -15-2 against those C-type teams, 13-4. And again, sometimes when you look at the odds, all the analytics can point to one thing, and then at the end of the night, the team loses, and you're like, what the hell happened? Like all the analytics was pointing towards one side, but they connected the dots, and the dots didn't join at the end, right? So what happened there? That's what happens in sports betting, right? Sometimes the favorites, they might have all the analytics going their way, the market psychology going their way, but sometimes you got to look at the value and you say, you know what? Even though the Lakers were the favorite, I think the value was on the Chicago Bulls. And the old rule in sports handicapping is this: when everybody goes one way, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to go the other way, right? And that's where if you find these sites that give you consensus, and you see that like a majority of the bettors are taking, like say, the Lakers. But here's the thing: you gotta decide for yourself, what's the number where you start veering away from that team, right? Is it 60, 70, 80%? If 80% is on one side, then that's the 80-20 rule, right? But I think what you're doing is you're looking for value. And when I look for value today, and that's the two picks I felt that had the most value when I was looking at the numbers. And normally your sports eye, your sports gut will pick it out right away, right? Like the thing is, like say Brooklyn +9. I love Brooklyn +9 here today, but they played 2 nights ago and Brooklyn won. Law of average. I'm a law of average handicapper. Do I want to go back to the well with Brooklyn, even though the Pacers are a 9-point favorite? I don't think so. Atlanta Hawks against a really good Golden State team, which I think next man up mentality is going to happen here. So I'm not touching that game. I'm not laying 15 on Washington Wizards, right? It's just not happening. And then I felt like Milwaukee, great team. If Giannis in the lineup, it's a bonus. Lillard's out. That's unfortunate. But then you got the Lakers, and here again, value, right? I think the Lakers are going to win, but I just don't think they're going to win by 9.5. And that's where you got to say, okay, I think there's value in the Bulls, right? So that's how I look at when I look at the numbers each and every day. And you got to look at the SBI to see what's coming in the markets, right? Is all the favorites coming in at a high clip? And if you look at here, the last 3 days, 48.3, 46.9, like on the year, the underdogs have done very well against the point spread. 54.8 on the year, 53.3 on the 7-day average. On the monthly average, 51.5. So pretty much a coin flip, right? But it's the naked eye. You got to go find that value, and then hopefully it cashes in for you. All right, there's Ron's rant for a Saturday morning. Hopefully it pays out for you. at the end, I'll see you guys back here on another edition of the Raymond Report.